y'all, Violet here, second generation homeschooling mom of 3. I have a 7-year-old, a 5-year-old, and an infant. Today I wanted to share with you several resources for studying the United States. So let's get into it. So I've already begun to plan for next year, and I'm not totally sure what we're going to be doing for history next year, but whatever we do, we will start studying U.S. history at some point next year. So I wanted to start checking out resources from my library and kind of figuring out what supplemental books, if any, I wanted to purchase. So I thought I would go through the ones that I've checked out with you so far today. So this is a book from DK. It's called 50 States. And this is less of an atlas and more of a fact book. So they have an overview of the 50 states, a map of the U.S., and then they have this divided into region, which I appreciate. I know some of these books have them states alphabetically, but I think having them by region kind of helps kids solidify their grasp of geography, which can be kind of loose sometimes. So each page has a little picture of the region and then the specific state, some facts about the state, some pictures, and these are illustrations, and then a little bit about just a couple of facts about each state. This is definitely geared toward lower and elementary, I feel like, because this is, in my opinion at least, not a ton of information for each state. I do appreciate the way it's set up and the pictures they use, but I was hoping for more information. I do appreciate the way this book treats the Pilgrims and the Wampanoag. Some of these other books, at least one of these other books, is just not good. But this one is very clear about what actually happened, so that's good. But yep, the whole book is set up the same way, so I'll just flip through some of the pages so you can get an idea what it's like. So I usually really like DK books, and there's nothing wrong with this one. I was just hoping for a little bit more information on each page, I think. But I definitely think it's a good resource. And then it does have at the end, the non-contiguous states are lumped together, and then U.S. territories, which not every other book has. So that's kind of nice. We have friends in Guam right now, and so we could read about that in this book. So that's DK's 50 States. This next book is Don't Know Much About the 50 States. I appreciate how much information this book has about each state, but I don't particularly like this style of illustration. I just think it's very cheesy. They're alphabetical, which I don't like as much as having them by region. And their description of the Pilgrims and the first Thanksgiving is just not good. Let me get to that page so I can show you. So that was disappointing. I like how much information this one has per state. Instead of being a 2-page spread like the DK book, it's a 1-page spread, but it has a lot more information at the expense of pictures, which is a bummer, but I probably won't be adding either of these to my library, unfortunately. The next book I want to look at is National Geographic Kids United States Atlas. So this is more map heavy. There's the table of contents. See, it has a lot of information at the beginning. It talks about DC, and then this one also is organized by region, which is my preference. And it has little facts here. They're very small, so I don't know if you'll be able to see them very well, but about the climate and population things in each region. Physical and political map for the region, kind of an overview of the region, and then it goes state by state. And I believe they're alphabetical within the region. So this one I actually think is my favorite of all of the U.S. books that I've checked out. It has a good amount of information, it has a very clear map, and it has some real pictures and fun facts and things. And I like that each page is set up in a consistent manner. I like that for each one it has a picture of the national bird, the tree, the flag, kind of those fun fact things that you may or may not know about other states, but people usually expect you to know about your state. So this one is, I really like the way this one is set up. And just since I've brought it up in the other books, I will show you the page on Massachusetts for this one. So they don't mention the first Thanksgiving at all, which is good. This is a little less strongly worded than I would prefer, but it is certainly not the worst I have seen. So that is this atlas. All right, and then the next book that I want to look at is The 50 States, published by Wide Eye. This book has the states alphabetically. It has a ton of information, which I really appreciate. It has biographies of famous people. It has a little overview of the state, these key facts of the bird, the flower, the tree, some other fun facts. And it has this really cool timeline of state history. So I really like all the information here. I do wish the map was a little bit more realistic, I guess. I really like atlas maps. That's what I'm learning from looking at all of these books. But I do really like all the pictures and things that they have here. I think it's really engaging for kids to look at. The other thing I wish is that this was not in cursive. My daughter is learning cursive this year, so she could read this, but it's definitely more difficult for her right now than regular text. So it looks cute, but I wish they just kept everything the same font. You can see each state is set up the same way. They show you up here where each state is, which is helpful, especially since they don't go by region. Let's look at Massachusetts in this book, since we looked at Massachusetts and all of the other ones, and see how they did. Here's Massachusetts. So it looks like kind of a mixed bag to me. Here they talk about how Metacomet Ridge is named for the Wampanoag chief who tried to drive out the colonists and preserve native lands. So that's good. But then over here they talk about the first Thanksgiving uncritically and don't even put it in quotes or anything. If you want to understand why that is problematic, I'll put a link to an article by the Indigenous educator Kelly Reagan Tudor in the description box. She does a really good job of breaking it down, and definitely a much better job than I could explaining all the problems with that. This one also has at the end all the presidents and then the flags at the back. I do like that one. I don't like how big these books are. They don't all fit on my shelves, but that's a me problem. The last thing I have, this is not an atlas, this is Draw the USA. There's a whole series of these books. They don't have a picture anywhere. But they have Draw the World, which is all the continents, and then they have continent by continent, like Draw the USA, Draw Asia, I think Draw Asia is actually 2 volumes because Asia is so large. Draw Europe, Draw North America, Draw South America, Draw Oceania. There's a bunch of them. But this is the Draw the USA one. So I'm going to try to do this maybe not this summer, but next summer after we've started studying the US a little bit. In my geography resources video, I showed the Draw the World. It's all the continents. And I definitely want to do that one before we do this one. But you can see it starts out very small. It tells you where to place things on your paper, and it's simplified outlines of all the states. This is mostly less about making a perfectly accurate map and more about being able to have an idea of where all the states are and generally what they look like. For example, Massachusetts is very important that it has that arm. That's kind of how you identify Massachusetts, and it sticks out and makes it very easy to remember. The instructions are clear, they're to the point, they're not overly wordy, and they're very friendly sounding. Like I don't know that my daughter is 7, so I don't think she's old enough right now for me to just give this to her and for her to go off and do it on her own. But when she's a little bit older, I definitely could just have her do this on her own. So you add more and more states. They add Alaska and Hawaii. I do like that they show you how big Alaska is because it's hard to tell on a lot of maps. It really is just gigantic. So then at the end, you'll have something like this. So I think this will be really fun for us. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, that's that. So the last thing that I want to show you is this game, Scrambled States of America. This is just for US geography, obviously. It's based on a book, and they give you a little copy of the book with the game, so that's kind of fun. And then every player will need one of these maps to play because you use it in the game. And so essentially you're trying to win the most state cards. You're trying to send the most of your state cards home. So you'll have several cards in front of you. And everybody will be trying to, oh, that's not a good one to start with. Everybody will be trying to do whatever this card says. So if the capital has a person's first name hidden in it, the first person who finds a person's name hidden in their capital, like Jack, they would get to send this state home to their pile. And you're only playing with the cards in front of you. So the way you're supposed to play this is as a speed thing, and only one person does this. That's too stressful for my kids with where they're at. So we just have everybody do one state from their deck. It's a bit less cutthroat for us, but that's fine because the point of this game for us is to learn. So they have all sorts of different cards that you're trying to look here and send states home, and you'll draw a new one when you do send a state home. But the ones that are really helping you figure out where everything is are these go the distance cards. So if you flip a go the distance card over, you then flip over a state to go with it. And whoever has a state that's the closest to this state gets to send both this card and whichever one of their states is the closest home, probably Indiana of these. And you can use this ruler to help you measure on the map which one's going to be closest. So this is fun. I like playing it non-competitively with my kids, but it's another good one to reinforce where all of the U.S. States are. And then the last puzzle that I have to supplement our geography studies is this Melissa and Doug floor puzzle. So these are huge pieces, but some of the states get their own piece, but some of the states do not. The smaller states, which makes sense for the age group that this is targeted at. I hope you found that helpful. I'll put links to everything in the description box below. I am an Amazon affiliate, so if you click on a link and make a purchase, I do receive a small commission. Thanks for watching.